Now, the thing that really wigged me out when I lived in that little fucking apartment is, it was fucking haunted. Hello everybody, Terrence Popp here with another episode, live from the Lair. Alright, these stories are between 2013 and 2018. When I was stationed in Utica, New York, I lived in Ilion, New York, which was, I think, 15 miles away, right down the side highways. I don't remember the nomenclature. Just kind of drive out of Ilion, turn left, take it all the way down to Utica. It definitely was a fucking weird adjustment. And I remember I'd only been there about 6 or 7 months when they tore up the whole fucking overpasses and loops in downtown Utica. Fucked everything up. So I had to come up with two or three different ways to get to fucking work because, you know, like one day some shit would be blocked off, another one, then another day it wouldn't, and another one would be blocked off, and it was a fucking just a huge fucking nut roll. And I knew that it would not be done until I was leaving, you know, so I knew it would take them 4.5 years to get it done. What a fucking nut roll. Now, after I moved into my own apartment, which was down in Mohawk, which was like literally 2.5 miles down the road from Ilion, I stayed in this little shitty fucking apartment, you know, basically 600 or 700 square feet. Had a kitchenette, little shower, like bathroom. The shower was like a coffin that stood up. You could barely fucking use it. And the back room, the back bedroom, was basically all my boxes and what have you. And when I needed to get something, it was like 3D Rubik's Cube to unfuck it and get it out of there. Because I'd basically packed everything up when I got divorced. And I never really unpacked all of it ever. And it's still that way now. I got like 60% of my shit in the basement of the house I own in Berkeley. And I'll probably move it over here. I don't know. I figure if I haven't touched it in a certain amount of time and I don't miss it, I could probably just get rid of it. But we'll see. We'll see. I know I have another suit in there I gotta get, but what are you gonna do? Now, the thing that really wigged me out when I lived in that little fucking apartment is it was fucking haunted. Okay? It was fucking creepy. And there's really nowhere to run. You know, and yeah, fuck, dude. I remember sometimes I'd roll up there and, you know, park my car, get out, and I could see fucking outlines of people or a person walk across the windows in the front because there was a garage behind there, and the light would come through the side windows and kind of light up the place. You could see them fucking. And the funny thing is, I had shelves like this, like right in front of the fucking windows. So how the fuck is that happening? That creeped me out. And every once in a while, I hear somebody fucking clear their throat. I think it was an old woman of some type. I don't know. I only saw an outline of her like one time in the corner of my eye. You know, and I would hear like shuffling of fucking feet up and down in the fucking carpeting. That was fucking pretty creepy. And most of the houses in that part of the country are stupid old. All right. And, you know, this phenomena of people not dying at home and mainly in the hospital, that only started like 40, 50 years ago. So some of these houses, you know, are 100, 150 fucking years old and probably had an ass load of people kick their air addiction and ditch their meat suits behind and are still wandering about willy-nilly about the place because, you know, I get a creepy feeling up and down my spine, you know, and I'm haunted shit. And 85% of all of the houses I walked into, fucking haunted. All right, straight up crazy haunted. And I used to hang out at the Marine Corps League in Ilion. If those guys see that, love that place. Those guys are, you know, friendly, good booze. I really have nothing negative to say about the place, other than that building is haunted as well. Now, I never saw nothing in there with my naked eyes. But I did hear kids running around in there, here every now and again. Because literally when I was, I got another apartment later on where I was sharing a duplex with my buddy Sportello. I could literally walk out of the Marine Corps League, walk in a diagonal for about 60 yards, and hook right, and go about 50 feet, turn right, and I'm right there at my apartment. And I'd fucking tie some on, something fierce, walk my ass out of there, 1 o'clock in the morning. And that building is, it's vacated for the most part, except for, the Marine Corps League bar downstairs. There's nothing in there. So I know at 1 in the fucking morning, on a Thursday fucking night, or even a Friday night, and you hear kids running around and shit, I mean, they shouldn't be there. Well, not if they're alive. What do I know? Apparently schools are crazy haunted. Apparently that's not a new phenomenon. A lot of old schools are haunted. Apparently a lot of kids back in the day burned in, and I guess their happiest days were hanging out at school. So in the great beyond, maybe they're just fucking hanging out doing their thing, and maybe there's an overlap there in realities. I don't know. Trying not to let it bother me too much, though my friends always teased me because we would be driving around and I'd that place is haunted. Oh, that place is haunted too. Oh yeah, this one coming up here? Oh yeah, it's crazy haunted. And I don't know. It was fucking weird. It was weird. Definitely, crazy experience. Alright, so we covered the Marine Corps League and the fucking haunted apartment. Okay, now when I first got there, I saw this weird fucking thing happen with the Ilion PD. Now, if I had known that the individual who was going to get deceased that night was an actual relative of one of my soldiers I had in my reserve unit, I would have walked beyond the police barricade and knocked on the door and probably pulled that motherfucker out of there. Apparently he flipped out, barricaded himself in his house, and I don't know exactly what happened during the beginning stages. All I know is the Ilion PD came out and put these huge floodlights, fucking had snipers out there, and once they fucking do that, it's not good. And apparently, I don't know what happened. He had a Molotov cocktail or he knocked something over in the house, and the house went up in fucking smoke. Now, I'm not talking about just a little bit burned down. I'm talking about burn the fuck down to basically the foundation and just a few of the major fucking wooden beams that didn't burn all the way through, because once it started on fire, they didn't even bother putting that shit out. They let that shit burn down, and I thought that was completely unprofessional. There probably was a better way to get this shit to fucking resolve than to fucking smoke that guy, and I kind of hope they get the fucking shit suit out of him, because that was completely unprofessional bullshit. Of course, that's just my opinion. I'm not emotionally attached to the situation at all, other than the fact that one of my soldiers who I liked, he's a good dude, his father fucking got smoked, so I didn't really care for that.
Hello there, Brotherhood of the Traveling Teabag. Because YouTube won't let us monetize any videos with Shotgun Rebellion's music, I'm going to show you Jesse Jane's tits while I tell you that you can support these pop-loving patriots by clicking the links in the description below. Subscribe to their channel, watch their music videos, and show these bearded badasses some love.
Up there in Red Trash Land, those guys like to make moonshine. Alright, now I myself was never really a fan of moonshine, because all the moonshine I ever fucking had basically burned my fucking throat and stomach to no end. Sure, it was potent and powerful, but I don't know, they could have done it better. But there were some guys up there who were making this stuff they called it strawberry shortcake, and there was another one called apple pie. And this shit was so fucking good. All right, it didn't even taste like alcohol. It kind of tasted like an apple pie with extra cinnamon. Now I don't know how they do this, but I remember my buddy Sport gave me like a 1-quart jar of the stuff he got from one of his buddies. I think it was his father-in-law. I'm not sure. And it's like 6 o'clock. He's going out to dinner with his wife. You know, so I decided I'm going to pour myself a double shot of this moonshine and see how it is. And I remember I poured myself a double shot, threw it back, no burn, no grit, nothing. Tasted like liquid candy. Closed the jar up, set it on the table, and I was sitting on his couch watching. I was going to watch like one of the Game of Thrones things because he has HBO and I didn't pay for cable. And next thing I know, I wake up almost 2 hours later. And Sport is standing in his dining room like, what the hell? I'm like, hey, I thought you were going to go to dinner. He's like, dude, we went to dinner and came back. And I'm like, dude, this moonshine is awesome. You got to give me a couple more jars of this stuff because this stuff put me to sleep. That was good times. And, I've over the 5 years I was there, I had probably 5 or 6 sources of the moonshine, but the one that I got that day was by far the best. The stuff called strawberry shortcake had a little bit more of a bite to it. Sweeter, had more of strawberries added into it, and I don't know, I liked it. But it is what it is. But yeah, that moonshine, man. If you get a chance, get your hands on some homemade fucking extra filtered moonshine. I suggest you fucking do it, because that shit was fucking good. Now, I had a hard time adjusting to the crazy mother effing winters that they have in upstate New York. And I remember the numbers from Tug Island, they always just got crazy amounts of snow. And this one year, they got like 96 fucking inches in like a weekend. It was insane. It's like 8 fucking feet or something. That's crazy. That's halfway up your house. Now, I had never ever experienced this before, but it happened twice in 2 of the 5 years I was there. They basically, I remember I was staying in that tiny haunted apartment, and it's like 30 fucking below zero. I got my heat turned on. I'm only heating one fucking room. We got my fucking Xbox, my TV, laying on my fucking couch. Because that's the only walk around living room space I had. Everything else was full of fucking bags and baggage. And I get a text message from the unit, like, hey, don't come in, it's too fucking cold. Now, I never fucking heard that before. I didn't know they canceled work because it got so fucking cold. But hey, what are you going to do? So, I basically chilled out. I believe we were out of work for 3 days in that week because of the fucking low temperatures. I think we went back to work when it got to like, 10 below or something, which is fairly reasonable. But, yeah, I mean, I haven't been exposed to that kind of cold, unless I was doing winter Arctic survival when I was on active duty, and a couple times when I went up into, the Upper Peninsula in Michigan in the wintertime. And even then, the UP was only 21 below. And Alaska, though, that shit was stupid fucking cold. And I remember the one night, they wouldn't even allow us to fucking rack out. We just walked all fucking night. Nobody stopped any of the vehicles. We just fucking, we're just snowshoeing our way along until we got back to the post the next morning, because it was like 47 below zero or some shit like that. And that was stupid cold, because you can literally feel the cold burning the inside of your nostrils when you're breathing. And, if you didn't walk around with your monkey mask on, you're asking for, fucking up your windpipe. It's probably why I have some issues with my lungs nowadays. That or the burn pits. Now, who knows? I'm on the burn pit registry, but, I'm sure that's one thing that's going to smoke me. Now, I've been pretty lucky with my health thus far. In the 5 years I was there, I think I got I got a really bad chest cold like twice, and I really only had the fucking flu once. And I was staying in that fucking haunted shitbox apartment. And I remember, I started on Friday night, about 10 o'clock, I got up, I fucking puked. And about an hour later, my ass turned into a water cannon, and I was basically puking and shitting from both holes. And that went on, pretty much the rest of Friday night, all day fucking Saturday. And I think it started slowing down on Sunday basically because I was fucking dehydrated as fuck. I remember I'm laying there on the fucking couch and I'm having this fucking, debate between me and Bad Popp and Evil Popp. Okay, now Good Popp wanted to lay there and recuperate. Bad Popp is, he's being an asshole. Evil Popp was like, fuck you, you need to get the fuck up or you're gonna die. And I'm like, I'm fucking Evil Popp, kicked Good Popp out of the driver's seat. And got fucking dressed, put on my fucking crazy stupid coat, and walked my ass the block and a half to the gas station / Ultramart, whatever they have going on down there. And I remember I ordered 2 subs and half a gallon of milk with some Quick and 3 gallons of water. And I believe I got some hot dogs, and some other, I think donuts and some other licky chewy things. Basically, gut rot. And fucking walked my ass back. First thing I did was slam a gallon of water. Fortunately for me, I stopped puking by then. And then I just turned on the fucking TV and just zoned out. It takes, I don't know if you know this, but if you get dehydrated, you drink water, you don't instantaneously dehydrate or rehydrate. It's not like if you have an IV. A lot of you guys out there, when you're younger, you fucking drink like a fish till 2 in the morning, go back to the barracks, get up at 5:45 to go run PT, and then you're all fucked up, you go see the medic, he gives you 2 liters of fucking IV fluid, and you're rehydrated like that. It's not like that. When you drink it the normal way, it takes a good 4 to 6 hours for that water to reach all of the cells and affected tissues of your body. So, I lived on the Submarine sandwiches, finished the water, and, by Monday, I was, good to go for the most part. My fever was gone, so I went into work for half a day. But, that's the sickest I've ever been. Thank God, and I hope that never happens again. But, it is what it is. Now, when I was there, we had one former member of the unit pass away. His name was Sweeney, Sergeant First Class Sweeney. Well liked by the men. I had some professional issues with him, but as a person, I didn't think he was that bad of a guy. Because I'd worked with him when the 414 left New York to Michigan. He was one of the NCOs that boxed him up on the shipping side, and I was one of the NCOs who received all the stuff on the receiving side. Basically, he was the guy who packed the Connexes with a snow shovel. Was unhappy about that, but, all things considered, it could have been way worse. Well, apparently, he had caught some kind of illness on his last deployment to Iraq. Some kind of really wicked bacteria infection that you get from the dust of dog feces and animal feces, and all of Iraq is just covered in that shit. And the sad thing about it is, if you catch it early enough, you just take massive amounts of antibiotics for 4 to 6 months, and you're good. It'll pretty much clear it up. But they misdiagnosed him at the VA, and the ball got dropped. And before you knew it had progressed to a point where it just was irreversible. I think they call it Q fever. You guys can look that up. I'm not sure if that's what it's called or not. But, it fucked up his immune system. He had to deal with cancer 2 or 3 times. Got all kinds of fucking crazy surgeries. And, when you reach the end of the road, the VA just gives you, you're at 100%, and then the VA gives you a separate budget for comfort items. Because they basically, the VA is saying, now you're circling the drain. Sorry, but it is what it is. So, I think, he knew the end was coming up. And one day out of the blue, he just walks into the unit. He's pale as a ghost, lips are a little on the blue side, a little confused. But, I'm not going to, shy away from the hard questions. He served in the unit for years, was respected and loved by the men. And I remember, the two supply sergeants were there, and the UA was there, and, the UA knew him for years. He was almost in tears. He was so upset. And I remember I looked Sweeney right in the face, because we're both grown-ass men, and I said, Sweeney, when the time comes, do you want the 401 or the 403rd to handle your funeral, or what? He just looks at me and goes, yeah, Sergeant Popp, that'd be nice. And I'm like, okay. You just got to make sure your family calls us when the shit's going down, and we'll make it happen. Well, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks later, we got the call that he had passed away, and they had called the unit, basically a little too little, a little too late. Fort Drum had already been lined up to send a honorary detail, for him, and I made sure I was there, and I think there was 11 or 12 of us from the unit that made it to his funeral. And of course, I'm in full blues at the time, and we saw him off. And now I remember the Fort Drum team did a good job. I'm not saying it was snare drum tight. The only thing that wasn't to my liking or to my standard is they fucked up the flag. They didn't fold it right. It just looked all fucked up and frumpused. And I remember I'm standing there, and they hand the flag to his widow, and I'm like, ma'am, can you hand me that flag, please? Because this is not done correctly. And I remember we unfolded it, because, my guys, the 403rd, we'd buried quite a few people, because we handled that every year for 3 months. We folded up the flag, put the brass back in there, and and tucked it in tighter than a snare drum's ass. And we handed it to her, and there were some other guys there that were in civilian clothes who were also, in the military. And I remember afterwards they walked up and they said, hey, thank you for doing that, because that was pretty unacceptable. And I'm like, yeah, well, they're young idiots. What are you going to do? I mean, the Fort Drum guys, the oldest guy was, I think, 23, I'm not making excuses for them. I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of things, they probably weren't that, schooled up on, funeral details, And I have a bad feeling, I will probably be around for a little bit longer, but I'll have to bury quite a few more fucking people, and I hate fucking doing that. And I remember, after the funeral and everybody left, me and the people who came in my car were standing around his fucking, casket in the fucking hole, and I remember I grabbed a handful of dirt and I threw it in there, and all of us did. And then somebody had a bottle of whiskey, and we passed it around, had a couple swallows of some good swill, poured a little bit out for him, said goodbye, went about our merry way. And I remember, I would drive by that cemetery. Every time I would drive up to Fort Drum for my medical appointments, which I went to 2 or 3 a week for the last year and a half of my service up there. And every time I would drive by, I would roll the window down and yell at the top of my lungs, Sweeney. I mean, Sweeney! I don't know, maybe he heard me, maybe he didn't. It is what it is. But anyway, gentlemen, that's my time, and I'll talk to you later.